It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
Looking at James Carville. I've never really been a huge James Carville fan. I think he's right. The economy's stupid, and I've that's my political philosophy for the most part. How do we make people's lives better first, foremost? How do we get equal pay for everyone? How do we close the inequality gap? How do we make sure that there's opportunity for the future? How do we make lives better? And we start by making sure that there's a roof over their head, food on the table, clothes on their back, all of those things. We go there first. So I'm right in line with it's the economy, stupid, and I think the Democratic Party has to be their wheelhouse. It's been a long time since they have been the party and the champion of the working class, and they need to grab some of that back. And I do think it was interesting that Carville, being interviewed by Vox, said something that a lot of us have been thinking over the years. I've often wondered why we throw so much money politically at candidates. This is one of those things that's been frustrating as an observer and someone who wants the Democratic Party to get back to their ideals of being the party of the working class and of making lives better. They raise all this money and they spend it on candidates. And the first thing candidates do is they go run out and they spend it on television ads. So we're making Comcast, huge amounts of money. We're making the big conglomerate networks, just wealthy beyond. So Carville in this interview says, something I've thought 1,000 times. He says, just look at how Democrats organize and spend money. He says Jamie Harrison raised over $100 million only to lose his Senate race to Lindsey Graham by 10 points. Amy McGrath runs for Senate in Kentucky, raises over $90 million and gets crushed by Mitch McConnell. He said all those races were going to lose. But Democrats keep doing stupid stuff. He used a different word. Democrats obsess over high-profile races. They can't win because that's where all the attention is. We're addicted to hopeless causes. And that is spot on accurate. I said this in the last election when you're looking at those two candidates to take out Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, which you were never going to beat. It's called math. It's almost impossible to overcome the math. But they spent $190 million that could have been spent on 190, 200 different House races across this country. 1,000 state legislature seats. It could have been spent in so much better ways to build an infrastructure, much like the Republicans have done. Democrats usually outspend Republicans in big elections. Instead, where Republicans are masterful, and this is where I keep telling people, look at the infrastructure that the Republicans have built. Look at what the corporate class has built for the Republican Party. Look at the infrastructure that a Republican candidate gets that a Democrat does not. Talk radio being the biggest value of all of them. Because, if you're a Democrat, I got to buy an ad on a station. It's going to cost you $200 an ad. You get your minute, you get your 30 seconds, and bang, there it is. So you put your ad in there, and then the Republican comes on and talks for 15 minutes for free. Because they've built the infrastructure. And this is where Democrats have got to wake up to reality. There are some races you're not going to win. In Kentucky and in South Carolina, those are two of them. Compete, but $190 million between the two of them, while races that you could have won, that you could have been much more competitive in, I don't know, Senate races in a number of Western states with the right candidate, you could have actually turned control, but lost causes, hopeless causes. He's not wrong. And this is where we as Democrats and people who are look, I'm a Democrat because I got nowhere else to go. The Republicans want to stab me in the back at every turn. And maybe that changes someday. Maybe the crazy stops. But this is where we are in this moment. I want the Democrats to be much more focused on working class issues. This is how we move the country forward.
It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.